Alrighty, we are back. Another week, another opportunity to make some money. Starting off with the economic calendar for the week. As you can see, we don't really have any news releases other than Wednesday. FOMC meetings minutes for the United States to be released. These are insignificant because FOMC has already happened, so that will then serve as our breakaway gap. And that would also indicate to us that, dollar is ready to expand higher. So I think some trade, lower to begin the week. Obviously, you want to see some manipulation happen. So we want to anticipate that price will, possibly come back into this red line at 99.07, possibly come back, find some support, and just continue to expand. So let's see if we can get that. That's what we'll be expecting for this week. Dropping down to the 4. Dropping down to a 4 hours, you can see this red line is aligned with this bullish order block. And so again, we want to see price hold here. We want this to be the support for the beginning of the week, possibly dollar come back down into this order block and continue to trade higher. Again, looking for April's open, these highs here, April's highs, and first quarter's highs. So pretty much as long as this breakaway gap stays open, I do not want to see price trade into this gap. I want to see that gap stay open. If we can get that gap to stay open, then pretty bullish, be strongly bullish on dollar. So we got this 4 hour. All right. And you know what that means? That we are bullish in the dollar, we can anticipate some sliding in the stocks. See if price action supports that idea. So last week we did have a bearish close what indecisive candle that could indicate, this could be a exhaustion of this current uptrend. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 week uptrend that we've been seeing in the stock market. With last week's close, we could possibly start seeing some lower prices. We want to drop down to the daily. And with the daily, we do have a swing that has formed, trade to the upside now. We did have that accumulation of April's lows. So this is, although it's slight, the trade below April's lows was, not really a strong push below it. Nevertheless, we still have that trade below April's lows and then a distribution higher of that liquidity. So what we could possibly be seeing now is this candle, this next candle, this week's candle to close on a bullish note in order for, the idea that price does wants to go higher, or the dollar does want to seek higher prices, that will give us much more confidence. So if it does not, then we are just in another range bound portion of or phase in this market right now in the dollar, which is also could be the case as well, because we've really been in a range since April of last year, just moving sideways, no real break above any of rather this high or this low. We had this low traded down below here, so now we could possibly see, again, that distribution higher to the upside, possibly seeking out this high here. So that's what we want to see for this week in dollar. Going down to the daily. So again, we have virtually every single day closed bullish last week, and we now have this high here and previous April's highs at 128 and previous quarter's high at 164. So these are the next targets. Again, I like to see today's candle also close bullish, possibly above here, and give us another gap, which this would serve as our breakaway gap that's already formed in price right now. So we want to see if we get another gap that will then serve as our breakaway gap, and that would also indicate to us that dollar is ready to expand higher. So I think some trade lower to begin the week. Obviously you want to see some manipulation happen, so we want to anticipate that price will possibly come back into this red line at 99.07, possibly come back, find some support, and just continue to expand higher, targeting April's open, quarterly second quarter open, and again reaching for previous month's high, April's high, and first quarter's high. Dropping down to a 4 hours, you can see this red line is aligned with this bullish order block, and so again we want to see price hold here. We want this to be the support for the beginning of the week, possibly dollar come back down into this order block and continue to trade higher. Again, looking for April's open, these highs here, April's highs and first quarter's highs. So pretty much as long as this breakaway gap stays open, I do not want to see price trade into this gap. I want to see that gap stay open. If we can get that gap to stay open, then pretty bullish, be strongly bullish on dollar. So we got this 4 hour. All right. And you know what that means? That we are bullish in the dollar. We can anticipate some sliding in the stocks. See if price action supports that idea. So last week we did have a bearish close, indecisive candle that could indicate, you know, this could be a exhaustion of this current uptrend, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 week uptrend that we've been seeing in the stock market. With last week's close, we could possibly start seeing some lower prices. We want to drop down to the daily. And with the daily, we do have a swing that has formed once, ran through, and now we have another swing that has formed twice, a swing high that has formed. And what that usually indicates to me is that this was a stop hunt above buy side liquidity, and now that we have closed back below this high, I want to see price find some willingness to stay below this red line to further support the idea that this is a stop hunt and we will be now looking for lower prices. So to begin the week, obviously we want to anticipate some trade higher, and then price starts showing some willingness to seek out those previous week's lows. This red line here will be where our change in the state of delivery on the daily time frame will happen. And once we get that, it's pretty much we can start. Once we get a close below this red line, then we can start to anticipate stocks coming down. The indexes, rather, the indices start to start seeking in these areas of fair value. So that's my idea for NASDAQ. We want to see price stay below this red line. Dropping down to the 4-hour. And again, if we can get a creation of a new swing or a new range lower with this within this next 4 hours, we can get price to close bearish. Again, the idea that we are seeking prices below the market will be that much more stronger. I want to see a new range created and possibly price turnover and continue to trade lower from here. Also, do not want to see price coming above here. So this will be my 4-hour line in the sand for right now. Well, I don't want to see price closing above here in order for this bearish idea to still be strong to begin the week. We can get price to stay below the 4-hour sand line, previous week's highs, all but certain. So that's what we're looking for. S&P, although we did have that bearish close in NASDAQ, you can see that the S&P did not close bearish. It actually closed a little higher, although not that much than where it opened. So we do have a bullish candle, and still this will be the seven consecutive candles in which the market has closed bullish in the S&P. And so with that, we take that into consideration with NASDAQ closing bearish, but S&P not closing bearish. Still, we give the idea that stocks could possibly be forming a short-term high and willingness to trade back into its range, from the fact that we are also seeing some dollar strength. And so far, NASDAQ and I think ES also, or Dow also closed bearish last week as well. So we have these swings form. We could see with Dow, just wanting to do whatever it wants to do. It could run higher to take out these previous quarter's highs, the first quarter's highs. That's also possible as well. And we do have this fair value gap that is supporting Dow Jones higher prices, but Dow Jones is the wild card, so it can do whatever it wants to do. But S&P and the Nasdaq are typically more positively correlated to each other, and so we pay attention to the swings that are happening in these two markets, and compare them against each other. So like I said, we have a down close day or down close week in Nasdaq, but we have an up close week in ES. So that indicates to me that there is some decoupling going on for right now, and it's really about which one do we trust. So again, we have that. We have one swing that has formed. Price traded through it. Price trades through it, comes back up, and trades back below it. So this is what we're considering is the stop hunt again, and we are looking for lower prices. Once we can get price to close below here, which will be our daily change in the state level, that confirms to us that we are correct and to seek lower prices. This will be also the area that we're looking for price to stay below once it does close. So we want to see that close below this this area here first before we consider the market to be in a change, in a structure shift, shifting from bullish to bearish. So we have to wait for that as well. Probably won't get that confirmation until today's closing. We got to give Monday, allow for Monday to set the tone for the week. Where's it going to close at? And from there, we'll have much more confidence about whether we should be closing or whether we should be seeking lower prices for the week, or we could possibly be coming back above the highs. So I would like for, again, this be the new leg in price that is going to indicate a bearish structure shift. If we can get a trade back below Friday's low, that would also be a good indication that we are going lower. This is my 4-hour line in the sand here. Again, I don't want to see, if we are bearish for the week, I don't want to see price closing back above this shaded line, gray shaded line here. So that's what I have for the week. To begin the week, I would like to see a trade up and hit to here, and again, we get bearish from there. Same for allow for the weekly open gap to be the supporting price that we need to send it lower. As you can see, price is close to it, hasn't traded into it just yet, but it's close. So you can possibly see that happening right now. And again, we have Dow close to taking its previous week's low. And I can see that happening and still be bullish in Dow. And I don't like to be, I typically like to be of the mind that the direction of one of the indexes is the direction of all the indexes. But with me considering, and that's the only thing that has me loosely bearish on S&P and Nasdaq, is the fact that the Dow still is poised to run its all-time highs, which it is so closely at right now, with Nasdaq and ES already at their all-time highs, above this their first quarter highs, which is, you see down here, and Nasdaq down here. I'm quite certain that Dow will be running its previous quarter's high for this week, or I'm of the mind that that run will happen. The market could do anything that it wants to do. Also, the fact that I'm considering it being bearish, and Nasdaq and ES is also giving me pause and concern on thinking that Dow Jones will run its all-time highs. So just gotta wait for more information, dropping down to the daily. You see that the Dow has just been consolidating really for the past couple of weeks, maybe even longer than that. We say from mid-April, really, the Dow has just been compressed within this range without no real closes to um, indicate exactly what it wants to do. Yeah, it's quite tough for me to call the Dow right now. I think the Dow is probably, although I want to see all-time highs around, I think that Dow is the one of the out of the three that is probably the biggest toss-up, just because we are so close to the highs, and I know it's going to be getting ran, but the price action that I'm seeing right now in the market is not indicating that within the next couple days anything can happen during the week, but within the next couple days we should be getting that run up there. So especially with Friday's close so bearish, so we just gotta wait and see now. I think that this would be the change in the state for right now. Let's see if we can stay below this red line here. This would indicate a change in the state in Dow and further bearish prices if we can get that price to stay below this red line. So yeah, 4 hour. See where we opened up at. We're all but certain to run the previous week's low. Get that and see a price will find another bounce here at this fair value gap, since there's nothing else really below here that I can see providing some sort of support. What also is concerning is that in this down move there was no manipulation happening, whereas price manipulating above, creating short-term highs, trading above it, and then running away. We see this down move is just clean. And so if we look on a lower time frame, what we will see is a lot of just lower highs created, lower highs. You got this high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. None of these highs were being, we didn't see no higher high form and then further trading lower, which is what you want to see in a balanced market whose order flow has shifted bearish. I don't think the order flow is entirely bearish right now, because we don't see that happening in price. So just gonna let the first couple of days of Dow closes show me what I should be anticipating in Dow. Don't really have a clear idea. You can argue for both sides in the market right now for Dow. Gold has been throwing me for a loop these past couple of weeks. I anticipated that this close here, this week's close, would have indicated that we are now trading higher, looking for previous month's high. And with last week's complete shift of direction back lower, we could be in a consolidated range market phase, or we could be seeing price lower. I'm possibly reaching for the January open, and again I have a couple of targets to begin the month of April below the market. So I think it was like here at 43.50 and 43.08 was the targets that I was looking for to begin the month. And now we're kind of getting that that trade, that direction that price could possibly seeking out these lows. Don't quite trust it just yet. The dollar being bullish is a good thing for, or also supports the idea that gold will be coming lower as well. But especially after this run higher, I thought that gold was going to continue higher above previous month's high. So want to continue to see what the first couple of days will give us for gold as well. I think that we can possibly start seeing some trade lower back to the targets that we initially had outlined for the beginning of the month of gold. So we're looking back again for 43.69, 43.70, and we will be looking for 43.06. See if we could possibly get that run. Dropping down to the 4-hour. I think that what would give me some pause that maybe that we wouldn't get that run lower would be if price started to close above. I think I want to see it stay below May's low. Yeah. So I actually don't want to see it back above Friday's high. I think that Friday's high will be my line in the sand for this week. I want to see price stay below Friday's high, and if we can get that, then you know that just further will give us further confidence in a lower gold. So that's our sand line for gold. Friday's high is our sand line for gold. Silver. Again, we just have some real ugly price action in silver as well. We had this run higher to begin the week. You see pop, and then came back and gave back all of its gains to close low on the week. So I want to see if we'll get that reflection of a lower gold inside silver with it also trading low to begin the week. Daily, we have these two gaps that have formed, or this gap has not formed just yet. We want to see that gap form though, and look for a change in the state of delivery below 73.26. I want to see if gold show some willingness to trade back below there. And I don't know why this says April's open, but this is actually May's open. So I want to see if it can get back below its open as well and continue to trade lower. If that's the case, we'll be looking for April's lows here. And that is what we see on the daily, on the 4-hour, in order for me to continue to be bearish. I want to see silver stay below. I don't want to see silver trade into this gap here. I don't want to see it into 82. Actually, I don't want to see it above. I don't want to see silver above 84. This will be our weekly sand line, our 4-hour sand line, or the idea that we have to begin the week of bearish silver. Ideally, though, if we don't get that move right now, a trade here, it's a lower. We're looking for a trade back up into here, possibly. Maybe Monday or Tuesday, you get in this, and then it's running to this fair value gap, and then price has come lower. Possibly get that. Oil, see that oil is the only asset that we've been looking at so far that has a clear and discernible gap higher. But oil is in a very tight range right now, which can't really get a good read on either. We did get a bullish close last week. I want to see if we can get some sustained trading above last week's high at 103.67. If we can get that and possibly a trade back above May's open, then these highs are now will be back in our scope to target. So I want to see price stay above May's open, show some willingness to trade above and stay above May's open for this week in oil. Same for Brent. I want to see it trade above the open and continue to trade higher. On to Forex. Got a lot happening in this. Last week's strong bearish close. So we also got a higher dollar. And with this week, I want to see, continue to trade lower. Seeking out previous quarter's low and April's lows. These look like very good targets to trade to for the week. So we're definitely bearish in the Great British Pound. I want to see price stay below 134, 134.46 is in my sand line for the week in pound. And we could stay above there or stay below there rather, then previous month's low and previous quarter's low are great targets for the week. Euro, pretty much the same thing. Euro had that strong bearish close. So I want to anticipate that, we get another bearish close week. And I want to see if we can get some willingness to trade below April's low and first quarter's low as well. Dropping down to 4 hour. Line in the sand will also be Friday's high. I don't necessarily think that price needs to come this high. want to see it continue to just roll over from here, actually. So this is also our line in the sand for bearish prices. Should not be coming back above the highs. Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has not yet closed this its weekly candle, but if we can continue to get that sustained move lower, it'll likely close bearish, as long as you don't get like no crazy reversal happen right now. This will close bearish, and we've got another swing. Same instance, the idea that this swing has formed. Got this high here, comes down a little bit, trades back higher, and now it's closing. So we want to see it stay below April's high, and again, we are in that area of fair value that we were looking for price to trade into, and now that it has found some support here, we're anticipating the next phase of bearish price action to begin. So we just want to see this. So obviously this week we're looking for a bearish close candle to form as well. Dropping down to the daily. Price action is looking very, very good right now. Here is our change in the state line. We want price to stay below here. And if we can get that, then yeah, these are pretty much, we should see some strong bearish momentum showing up in price action if price is bearish, because we have all of these lows here that our low resistance. So we really have low resistance all the way down into 62,000, and previous quarter's low at 6,000, 60,000 rather. So that's what we'll be looking for. Our line in the sand on the 4 hour will be I don't want to see any closes above $80. We get back into 80,000, then no longer bearish. So I want that red line there. That will be our line in the sand. We get any run or closes be above there, then we're no longer bullish. Let's see. Style middle line. Middle line. 4 hour. So that's our sand line right there. We don't want to. I really don't want to see it trade back into this area, this fair value area. It could, but I wouldn't want that to happen. Just like to see for it, consolidate and roll over from here. So that's what we got in Bitcoin. Same thing in Ripple. We're looking for lower prices, and Ethereum, looking for it to come lower.